In a world where reality is but a shadow cast by the lies we've been fed, understanding the truth becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. Imagine waking up to find that everything you believed, everything you trusted, was a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you docile, to keep you in line. This guide is not just a map to navigate the labyrinth of deception. It is your key to breaking free from the chains that bind you. Welcome to the dark side of knowledge, where the thin line between reality and illusion blurs, and where fear is both your enemy and your ally. This is not just a guide, it is your red pill. Take it, and brace yourself for the terrifying but empowering journey into the real world. Manipulation is deeply ingrained in our society, so it means we will and have to talk about these things. If you are not comfortable with it, you can leave this video. Chapter 1. Shadows and Chains. Imagine, if you will, a group of people who have lived their entire lives chained in a dark cave. They are bound in such a way that they can only gaze at the wall in front of them. Behind them burns a fire, and between the fire and these prisoners, there are others who hold up objects, casting shadows on the wall. To these prisoners, the shadows are all they've ever known. They believe the shadows are the true form of reality. But what if one prisoner were suddenly released, his chains removed? He would stumble out of the cave, into the blinding light of the sun. The initial shock of daylight, so intense and overwhelming, would confuse him. He might even long for the shadows that once gave him comfort. But as his eye adjusts, he begins to see the world for what it truly is, rich in color, depth, and complexity. This journey out of the cave is not just about seeing the world differently. It's about understanding that what we once believed to be the truth was merely an illusion. It challenges us to question our own perceptions and ask, what shadows have we mistaken for reality? This transition from ignorance to awareness is painful, yet necessary. It's a reminder that to truly live, we must first break the chains that bind us to a false reality. The process of breaking free from these chains is not easy. It's a journey of self-discovery, one that requires courage to face the unknown. But as the Stoics remind us, it is in this struggle that we find our true strength. We must be willing to confront our own illusions, no matter how comfortable they may be, and seek the truth with unwavering resolve. Chapter 2. The Light of Awareness. When the prisoner first steps into the light, he is overwhelmed. The reality he once knew, a world of shadows and echoes, fades into insignificance. The blinding sunlight reveals the true nature of the world, not as a comforting illusion, but as an unfiltered truth. This transition is more than just a physical movement from darkness to light. It's a profound psychological transformation. In psychology, this moment parallels the concept of cognitive dissonance, where our minds struggle to reconcile new truths with deeply held beliefs. When confronted with reality, the prisoner faces a dissonance that shakes the very foundation of his understanding. The familiar shadows no longer hold meaning, and the newfound clarity demands a re-evaluation of everything he once accepted as true. This is not unlike the process we all undergo when our long-held beliefs are challenged, be it through personal experiences, new knowledge, or introspection. Philosophically, this journey mirrors the Stoic idea of seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. The Stoics believed that wisdom begins with understanding the true nature of reality and our place within it. This awareness, however, comes with a heavy burden, the burden of responsibility. Once we see the world clearly, we can no longer hide behind ignorance. We must confront life's complexities, accept them with courage, and navigate them with wisdom. The prisoner's initial discomfort in the light reflects our own resistance to change. But as he adapts, he discovers that true freedom lies not in the shadows, but in the full exposure to reality, no matter how harsh it may be. This is our society. It's not about spreading negativity, but harnessing darkness for strength. We hope you are enjoying this dark show. This acceptance of truth as difficult as it may be, is the cornerstone of personal growth and the foundation of a life well lived. Chapter 3. The Reluctance to Return. After adapting to the light and embracing the truth of the world outside the cave, the liberated prisoner faces a new challenge, returning to the cave to share his newfound knowledge with those still trapped in darkness. This task is daunting, not because of the physical descent, but because of the psychological resistance he anticipates from those still chained. In psychological terms, this situation aligns with the concept of the backfire effect, a cognitive bias, where people's beliefs become stronger when they are confronted with evidence that contradicts them. The prisoners in the cave are so entrenched in their understanding of reality that any attempt to enlighten them may be met with hostility or outright denial. This resistance is rooted in fear, the fear of the unknown and the discomfort that comes with challenging, deeply held beliefs. From a Stoic perspective, the task of returning to the cave is a duty, driven by the understanding that wisdom and knowledge are not to be hoarded but shared. The Stoics taught that one should live in harmony with nature, which includes fulfilling our roles within society. The philosopher, having seen the light, must guide others toward it, even if it means facing rejection or scorn. This is an act of courage and virtue, hallmarks of the Stoic path. The returning prisoner knows that many will refuse to see the truth. They may even attack the very idea of it, clinging to their shadows, because the comfort of familiarity outweighs the uncertainty of enlightenment. Yet, the philosopher persists, not out of arrogance, but out of a sense of duty and compassion. He understands that not all will accept the truth, but for those who do, the reward is freedom. A freedom not just from physical chains, but from the mental chains that bind us to false realities. This chapter of the journey teaches us that enlightenment comes with responsibility. It is not enough to seek and find the truth. We must also be willing to share it, even when it is difficult. The act of returning to the cave is a test of character, a demonstration of commitment to the greater good, and a reminder that true wisdom is not isolated, but connected to the well-being of others. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please consider like and subscribe, and thanks a lot if you did already. Moving on. Chapter 4. The Dilemma of Ignorance. In the darkness of the cave, ignorance can feel like bliss. For the prisoners, the shadows on the wall are their reality, and within that limited perspective, they find comfort. When faced with the truth, the challenge is not just accepting it, but also confronting the loss of that comfort. The dilemma lies in the choice between staying in the dark, where life is simple and known, or stepping into the light, where truth brings complexity and discomfort. This dilemma mirrors what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort experienced when holding two conflicting beliefs. The prisoners, when shown the light, face a deep internal conflict. The world they've always known is a lie, but accepting this new truth means abandoning everything familiar. In many ways, this internal struggle is more difficult than the physical chains that once bound them. Stoicism offers a perspective on this dilemma. It teaches that true freedom is not found in external circumstances, but in the mind. According to Epictetus, it is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them. The enlightened prisoner must confront the fear and discomfort that come with new knowledge, and understand that these feelings are natural responses, but not insurmountable obstacles. The Stoic path is about cultivating resilience and understanding that discomfort is often a necessary part of growth. In this sense, the dilemma of ignorance is not about choosing between light and dark, but about choosing between comfort and growth. The truth, once known, cannot be unknown. The real challenge is not just seeing the light, but accepting it fully, embracing the responsibilities that come with it, and overcoming the instinct to retreat back into the comforting shadows. For the philosopher, the journey out of ignorance is one of constant effort. It requires the strength to face not just the external challenges of the world, but the internal battles within oneself. This chapter of the journey reminds us that true wisdom often comes with pain, but it is a pain that leads to greater understanding and ultimately to freedom. Always remember, balance is the key. We need both light, also darkness. Chapter 5. Do we really want the truth? With knowledge comes a burden, a responsibility to live in accordance with the truth, even when it's inconvenient or painful. For the freed prisoner, returning to the cave isn't just a physical act, but a moral obligation. He must share what he has learned, even if it means facing ridicule or hostility from those who still dwell in ignorance. This burden of truth is a central theme in existential philosophy. Jean-Paul Sartre spoke of the weight of freedom, the idea that with freedom comes the responsibility to choose, and with choice comes the burden of consequence. The freed prisoner must confront the reality that knowledge demands action. It's not enough to see the truth. One must live by it, even when the world resists. In the context of Stoicism, this burden is understood as a call to virtue. The Stoics believe that wisdom must be applied. As Seneca stated, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. The freed prisoner, now enlightened, must find peace in the knowledge he carries, knowing that the path of truth is often a lonely one, but also the most fulfilling. Yet, there is also a paradox in this burden. The enlightened one knows that not everyone is ready to accept the truth. Plato's allegory suggests that trying to free others from their chains can lead to resentment and anger. This reflects the Stoic idea that we can control our own actions and responses, but not those of others. The burden, then, is not to force the truth upon others, but to live it out authentically, serving as a beacon for those who are ready to see. In the end, the burden of truth is a test of character. It challenges us to rise above our own comfort, to face the often harsh realities of the world, and to act with integrity regardless of the personal cost. The journey out of the cave is not just a journey of enlightenment, but also one of moral fortitude. It is a reminder that while the truth may set us free, it also binds us to a higher standard of living, a life guided by wisdom, courage, and the unyielding pursuit of what is right. Remember, truth can also cause suffering.